Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're covering a major proposal from the Trump administration that's creating a lot of conversation across the housing industry. Yes, we're talking about a $33 billion cut to HUD. That's the Department of Housing and Urban Development. And it was submitted as part of the 2026 federal budget. And we're going to break down what's in the proposal, what both sides are saying, and most importantly, what this could mean for real estate agents, brokers, and investors all across the country. So let's jump into it. Now, before we jump in, make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Make sure you like, comment, and share this video. Let me know what your thoughts are. Do you oppose it? Do you think it's great? Okay. Whatever it is, drop it in the comments below. And at the end, I'll also give you an opportunity to kind of check out a cheat sheet that we're using to help navigate conversations like this for our real estate team. All right, so let's jump in. So the budget proposes reducing HUD's funding by about 44%, which brings it down to just over 41 billion, down from 74 billion the previous year. Now, here are some of the most talked about elements. Okay. One, converting federal rental assistance like Section 8 into state managed block grants. Now, this is eliminating also the Community Development Block Grant, CDBG program. Okay. And it's implementing a 2-year limit on rental assistance for able bodied adults without disabilities, providing more local control over housing support and how it's allocated. Now, let's talk a little bit about this. Proponents of the proposal argue that it streamlines funding, reduces federal bureaucracy, and it gives states more flexibility to tailor housing programs to local needs. Now, here's what the other side says. They say that it actually reduces consistency. It may weaken protections for vulnerable renters and could lead to a deeper inequality between states, depending on their budgets and priorities. Okay. So let's break it down one by one. Rental assistance becoming state run instead of federal run like Section 8. Okay, what does that mean? Now, the proposed budget calls for a phasing out of direct federal rent assistance and replacing it with state block grants. Okay. Now, what does that mean? Well, this would fundamentally change how housing vouchers and rental support are distributed. Okay. Now, supporters of this idea, here's what they're saying right now, right? They're saying, hey, it's going to allow for more localized solution. All right. Because who knows better, the feds about what's going on in a local state, or do the state politicians know better? Okay, so they're saying, hey, keep it local, they'll have better solutions. Okay, they're also saying it may cut down on inefficiencies and delays in the current federal system. I don't think anybody's going to argue about there being delays in the federal system, but will it actually cut it out? Who knows, right? Now, here's what critics are pointing out on the opposite side. It says state with tighter budgets may offer less support. Okay. And now people are retorting back to that saying, well, maybe they should get their house in order and figure out how to manage their budgets. That's a whole different thing. Okay. Well, maybe it's not, but either case, that's what they're saying. They're also saying opponents of this piece are saying renters can face inconsistent eligibility rules and reduced coverage. Now, keep in mind, we don't know that. That's not like part of the bill. Right? It's not like they're trying to take away consistency and change eligibility rules. But what it will mean is that it's going to be subject to a state that might do those things. Okay. So it's going to be on a state by state level. Think about it this for real estate agents and investors specifically, this could mean a few things. One is fewer qualified renters in certain areas where assistance may shrink, right? There's a lot of investors, even people that I know, that they love working with Section 8 vouchers. They're more likely to get their payment, right? They can charge higher rents oftentimes, but in either way, they like the Section 8. So they might be concerned about that. They might also be concerned about the pool because they don't have those vouchers. Right. Now, what that also could mean is increased tenant turnover or financial instability in lower income neighborhoods. Okay. If the state isn't delivering at or above the level that the federal government is delivering on, then okay, that can create some issues, right? Let's check that out. All right. So higher demand for creative financing and rental screening solutions. What that means is, hey, if we're going to be screening these people out, there might have to be additional hoops that they jump through. Okay, so these are some of the things that can happen. Let's move into the next part, which is the elimination of the CDBG program, the Community Development Block Grant. Now, that program is often used to fund affordable housing, infrastructure, and revitalization projects in underserved communities specifically. Okay. Now, here's the administration and proponents' rationale. They claim that the program is poorly targeted and some local governments have misused funds on non core purposes. Okay. And so basically, what they're saying is like, hey, these things are corrupt. You're hearing this word thrown around a lot, that they're using these funds incorrectly for non core purposes. They're using them for all these other things. And there's lots of rabbit holes you can go down during this. Trust me, there are plenty. Feel encouraged to go down them. Just come back out and visit us once in a while on this side. All right. So, anyways, that's what they're saying. They're basically saying, hey, listen, these things are poorly targeted, poorly managed to begin with. And so, therefore, as we take this down and underfund it or get rid of it, then, we can use those funds more appropriately. Okay. Now, here's what the opponents of this bill or this portion of the bill are saying. And here's their argument, right? It's one of the few flexible funding sources that cities have for community based solutions. Okay. Because a lot of them are extremely rigid. And some people are like, yeah, they're so flexible that they're misusing them. Okay. We get it. It goes both ways. All right. And they're also saying, hey, this actually helps stabilize property values in transitional neighborhoods. Okay. So that's an important thing that they're really arguing for. It's like those transitional neighborhoods that maybe they're gentrifying them, they're changing over, right? A lot of that community. Well, a lot of those projects are actually funded by or subsidized by those block grants. Okay. So you could see neighborhoods maybe stay stagnant more. I don't know. What does that mean for us, for agents and real estate investors? Here's the potential impact. One, urban infill and opportunity zone projects may lose funding. It's just the reality. Doesn't mean they will, okay, but they may. And that might slow redevelopment timelines. Okay. Neighborhoods may see deferred maintenance or fewer public improvements, which can affect resale value and curb appeal. Again, no guarantee that that's going to happen. Now, on the flip side, investors are looking for distressed or undervalued areas, and they could see more opportunities in markets affected by grant rollbacks, right? So, in other words, hey, if we're not getting all these grants, maybe private money can come in and flip these houses and renovate those areas. And hey, that's a lot of upside for them. And so, there are actually some people who are saying this is going to be great for real estate investment, real estate development, all right, but it's going to be private money instead of public money backing it. And so, and the further argument is, well, private money tends to be more efficient because it's their money, not using other people's money, i.e., taxpayer money. Take that for what it's worth. All right, so let's get into this. This is an interesting one that I've heard a lot about. All right, the 2-year cap on rental assistance. This is interesting. So, this budget introduces a 2-year cap on assistance for able bodied working age adults that do not have disabilities. Okay, so here's what supporters are saying. I think you could already guess what they're saying. It encourages personal responsibility and workforce participation. It prevents a long term reliance on federal aid. That's a big deal for a lot of people, is that, hey, we people that are able bodied in working age, right? They should be able to get on their feet, build up their confidence, and rejoin the working community and staying instead of staying dependent on these services in perpetuity. Okay. I actually think that that's a good thing for everybody. But again, this is not necessarily my time for my opinion. This is me just kind of giving you the facts. All right. Now, here's what opponents are saying, and they got some good points too. It could lead to abrupt housing loss for people in transition, especially in high cost cities. All right. So it depends. Are they going to introduce it like, hey, you started it 2 years ago and therefore tomorrow you have to get out? Right? Or putting a 2-year cap starting today. Okay, cool. Well, are they also providing other assistance to help them navigate through this, or are they just on their own? Who knows what resources are going to be available? But that's what people are saying. Now, here's another thing that people are arguing is that the lack of long-term support might increase evictions and increase homelessness, which could be a real challenge. Okay. Now, for the real estate industry, property managers and landlords may face more volatility among renters that are on assistance. So, hey, you might want to pay attention to, are they on this timeline and heading towards this cliff where they either got to get a job so that they can pay their rent or not get that subsidy and therefore not be able to pay? Something you really got to pay attention to, especially if you're in a state that is very tenant friendly. Okay. Now, here's the other thing that's for investors and landlords. Agents in markets with high rental support may see impacts to rent roll stability and tenant quality. And so the investor landscape could shift as areas with more rental reliance face increased turnover, right? Like that's a real impact that could have. So let's talk a little bit more before we wrap up about the broader market considerations. Okay, let's zoom out. HUD's programs really touch everything: neighborhood safety and walkability, and like market demand and investor appetite. Okay. Because like changes to HUD could really influence a few things. Okay. One is like, you might not even think about this, but migration patterns as one. Okay. Because like renters, as they seek better funded states that are maybe handling vouchers better or more renter friendly, they might move there. Okay. Now, the other thing is it could impact investor behavior with more risk in low income rental markets. Okay. Now, there's also an impact on appreciation potentially, right? Depending on the neighborhood revitalization and what resources they have. Also, property management strategies, right? They might need more screening and reserves for vacancies. Okay, and now here's the thing. Now, I want to be super clear on this. Whether you support these changes or not super relevant. The market is likely to shift, and the agents who understand these trends will actually be in a better position to guide clients and plan their own moves. Because here's the reality: no matter what's happening, whatever bill is passing, whatever things are happening, be it federally, state, local government, whoever is the best informed is going to be the best person to help the client at the end of the day. And so you end up with more clients, you end up getting better reviews and better testimonials by knowing what's true, what isn't, what could happen, what likely will happen, and what likely won't happen. Okay. Now, real quickly, a note to talk to you about, like to be super clear, this isn't about red or blue or left or right. Budget proposals are starting points, not a policy. Okay. Now, they show us what priorities are being pushed and what might be up for negotiation. So, for real estate professionals, what matters most is this: knowing where funding flows might increase or and where it might disappear, understanding which buyer and renter groups will be affected, adjusting marketing, investment, and servicing models accordingly. It's super important, right? Because you got to stay informed, not just reactive. You have to be proactive. So, if you want a simple breakdown of these changes plus agent specific action steps you can take in your business, just comment HUD, HUD below, and I'll send you a free PDF guide. And if you want to be part of a smarter, more strategic real estate community, join our Real Estate CEOs Facebook group. It's free, it's active, and full of agents and team leaders who are navigating market shifts just like this. So let me in below, and I'll personally send you the invite. And like and subscribe if this gave you perspective, and I'll catch you on the next one. So let's stay sharp. And as always, if you ever want to learn how you can partner with us at Real Estate CEOs on a brokerage level, make sure you click the link in the description below where you can do that and book a one-on-one time with me. Happy to walk you through it. Till next time, keep crushing it.